Hey friends, Joe here, a naturalist at Lowry Nature Center. Now one of the surefire ways to know that spring has sprung is from the sound right behind me. Listen, you know what's making that call? Some of you might think it's a bird, maybe even an insect, but in fact it's frogs. Yeah, some of our little amphibian friends start to sing shortly after they emerge from their winter slumber. And what you're hearing are the males competing with other males for breeding rights, while also calling to the females. Now, we have 14 different species of frogs and toads in Minnesota, 8 of which you can find in Three Rivers parks. And while we might not always get to see these 8 different species, if you learn their calls, you'll be able to tell when they're around. Now, the cool thing about these frogs is that they start to sing at different times of the year. So if you know when and what to listen for, you'll be able to ID frogs pretty easily on your outings this year. So, in early spring, one of the first frogs you can hear is the wood frog. If you listen, it's right behind me, which I recently read to be explained as the sound of town gossip run through a synthesizer. You think it sounds like that? Right around the same time, from late March all the way through April, you can also hear the song of the chorus frog. Many people will recognize this sound as often described as your thumb being dragged along the teeth of a comb. It's one of the other sounds behind me as well. Then, from early April through early May, you'll start to hear the call of 2 more frogs. One being the spring peeper, which makes its, peeping sound. The other frog you hear around the same time is the northern leopard frog, which sort of sounds like snoring and often described as running your finger across a wet balloon. Let's take a listen. Next, in early May through early June, you'll start to hear the trill of a toad, which is impressively long and loud. Let's take a listen. Wow. Then from late May through June, you'll start to hear the gray tree frogs. Now, this next audio clip might be a little tricky because there's 2 species you're going to hear. But luckily, one of them we've already gone over, so let's see if you can decipher between the 2. Did you figure it out? Along with those rhythmic short trills, which were the gray tree frogs, you should have also heard those high-pitched peeps of the spring peepers. Whew, excellent. So, you're doing great so far. I've got one more frog for you to meet. Next is the green frog. Now this one makes a gunk sound, sort of like plucking on a thick rubber band or even a loose banjo string. Let's take a listen. All right, we made it through all the songs to help you identify some of your local amphibian friends. I hope you enjoy this fun new skill while you're out in our parks, so keep those ears tuned in to what's around. Until next time, friends.